Hey, what up, y'all? I got some tonight's conversations mess. I know it's kind of getting the old news. I've been wanting to get on it, but now I got the time to get on it a little bit. Let's go.
That they did not do right by and had no intentions of doing right by decides to school one of their homeboys. It's a valid question. It's a valid question. What is going on?
And I'm gonna be skipping around.
I'm not about to answer this. I know, but all right. But I also want to know. But I also. Now what the? Hold on. But I also want to know, how long should I wait to spring it on him that I want to spring? With the homie? Okay. I love his friend. Surprise! All right. I want to his friend. Yeah, I want to know. How long do I have to wait?
Bitch,
Word is
what?
we might be. It's not confirmed, allegedly, but very clear signs that we might be in another Derrick Jackson moment. I hope this isn't the downfall of these individuals, as much as I disagree, because we know what happens. On the Tonight conversation is they hand out hot cups of decaf. Decaf. Of course, we're talking about coffee.
And
But
shout
it's
out to
decaf.
Coffee Pot for this, by the way.
You're sipping it, you think it's real coffee, but you're wondering why you don't feel shit. You don't get that hit. You don't get that hit. Yeah, it tastes like coffee, but when it goes into the bloodstream and it starts digesting in your stomach, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is making you feel better. Somebody sends me content, and in the content, I click on it, and it opens up a floodgate of other videos in my algorithm with headlines attached to those videos that read downfall of tonight's conversation. So, what's going on? Number one, it's all over the place. And it took me a while to figure out why it's all over the place. And when I finally realized that a bunch, if not all, of his cast members have signed NDAs and can't give details as to why they're leaving, then that has created the type of environment where a lot of these chicks are getting online, mostly the women, talking shit. They're beefing with each other. A lot of women going back and forth. Trip just left the Tonight Show. You have Keita, who just left, and also Kitty left as well. But there really isn't any concrete evidence that this is why there's dysfunction. Now, of course, with people having NDAs and whatever else is going on over there in tonight's conversation, you have all these allegations, right, of men having multiple women, modern women getting their cheeks clapped, maybe while on tour, outside of tour. The stuff you'd expect goes on when you have a group of people who don't drink coffee, most of them not married. Here's what I don't want this to turn into, because, again, so much of this is so muddy because of the NDAs, I'm assuming, that this can easily just sound like gossip. And I don't want this to sound like gossip. Here, we talk about real life issues. Yes, highly entertaining at times. But we talk about real life issues. But I don't want this to turn into some sort of gossip thing. So I'm going to leave the alleged stuff out of it. We're going to move into the stuff that we do know.
Tired of wearing the same outfit every day, the same boring, unpredictable outfit? Then you need Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix makes it super easy to update.
Oh, right. That seemed like cut off too early there. And so this was his message, of him leaving tonight's conversation. And I hope he finds a stronger place that is more in line with the direction he wants to go. Like he said, he's not leaving the lane, so I'm assuming he's going to be talking about the same type of things. And while I've caught Trip on multiple occasions not serving coffee, there are times where he has some very insightful things to share, some things that I've listened to, been like, okay, I've never looked at that particular situation that way. Because, you know, it's hard to fake sincerity, right? And I get the vibe that there's a certain level of sincerity when it comes to Trip. And I have to say that. So a lot of people were surprised when they found out that he was leaving. Got a few comments here that say, Keita and Randy, take notes. Adults act like this, not messy children. I'm sorry, not messy childlike behavior. And so this person's responding back to Keita Rose, and, you know, the chicks are on their beef. I'm not going to get too much into the drama. You know, we're not going to get into the gossip here. We're going to stick to the facts of what we can see with our own eyes. Somebody else here says, I truly was inspired by Trip. Another person here says, thank you for being the adult in the room. And Trip, where are you going? So it sounds like he is starting his own thing. If I've learned anything about YouTube and the behind the scenes, if you're somebody who probably wants to get into this content thing, you will soon find out that it's a mess out here. And one of the best things I've ever done from the very beginning, and this wasn't really intentional until I realized how significant the decision was when I made it, was to stay out of it. To stay out of what, Chisha? Just to stay out of it. Just to stay out of it. And if you've been following me and subscribed to the channel for a while, you know exactly what I mean. You know, when you're a spectator looking at this type of a situation, when I say this type of situation, I'm talking about what a lot of people are calling the downfall of tonight's conversation, and Ace Metaphor, who is the founder of that conversation, pandering to women and building this reputation, false reputation, women falling for it. The thing that I believe boggles the people on the outside looking in is, how are you falling for this again? How are modern women falling for this again? And instead of me playing a bunch of videos of a bunch of chicks,
That's because
justifying
modern women
themselves,
like to be scammed.
we're going to give the spotlight to some men right now. That's what I decided. And I think, like, no one is more confused and thinks to themselves, you can't make this shit up. Because it just happens like clockwork. We all saw it coming. How did you not see this coming? How did you not see this coming yet again? And there'll be another person yet again. But here's some guys who are, I don't even want to call it in disbelief, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think they just sit back and kind of laugh when they see this type of a situation happen. Yet again, check it out.
Haven't y'all figured it out yet? Every time there's this social media relationship guru, every time he says something and all of you agree with it, yo, doesn't that dig up a red flag to y'all? Y'all didn't learn from Derek Jackson?
Nope.
Like, I don't understand it. And y'all fall for it every time, bro.
Right.
You guys are so emotionally volatile. They game on y'all, bro. Y'all don't wait. They game on y'all, bro. They make money off y'all. Y'all gonna say this. Ooh, I'm gonna say that, and all the women go crazy. Yeah, y'all gonna say that, and it works every time, bro.
Right.
And then when men come in there and actually say something reasonable, say something logical, y'all push back crazy like, yo, he gave you solid reasoning. And then now everybody wanna pull back from tonight's conversation. Well, I'm having a conversation right now, y'all gotta get it together, bro. Stop being emotionally manipulated, bro. It happens to y'all every time.
Madam President.
Sorry about the ads.
Ma'am, apprehension is minutes away.
Stop being emotionally manipulated, bro. It happens to y'all every time. Every time. All it takes is a dude to get up there, black women this, black women that. We should be getting this. Date everybody. Get the money, sis.
So,
Y'all getting finessed, bro.
right.
Stop getting finessed. gotta stop getting emotionally finessed. Y'all get emotionally finessed all the time by these dudes, bro. Please stop, bro. Get some help, bro. Listen to dudes who have solid communication and a logical response for what your problems are, bro. Y'all run into dudes who just agree with y'all for everything. And that's your problem. Y'all don't wanna really sit down and take accountability, like, okay, all right, this is where I'm going wrong. This is the problems that I'm running into. I'm running into the same problems. No, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to deal with it.
Right.
You want somebody to call you a queen and pat you on your back and forgive all your wrongdoings, bro. It can't work like that no more. Y'all gotta stop getting emotionally finessed. Y'all getting emotionally finessed by these dudes, bro. Stop.
You know, it's kind of crazy when you think of what it takes for these panders to be exposed. It's not what they say and how crazy it sounds that he's telling you that men don't cheat and that's not something that could possibly happen. Let me tell you something. If you value marriage today, because someone in my last video didn't like that I said this, I absolutely believe that you should sit down and have conversations that are difficult to have. You should bring up prenuptial agreements because your marriage can fail. How is that something? Go outside, look around. People think it's crazy to even have the conversation about what if this didn't work out? They don't even want to talk about that. There's a guy out there who it's always going to be perfect, and no, it takes two people. So you ask yourself, what if it didn't? Okay, then the next question should be, what would make this marriage fail? Well, maybe if we had different definitions of what marriage was, then that would guarantee failure. If you met somebody and they were playing a whole different game than you were, you thought you were about to play basketball and they're playing hockey, your definitions are off. Most people don't even know how they define a marriage. Their first thing is looking for that spark, butterflies, feelings. They're not grounded in values. They don't know much about themselves and how they define a marriage. And on the note of not being able to define your relationship or not being able to define a marriage, on that note, I think that's part of the reason why the tonight's conversation whole dynamic probably struggled and really didn't equal to much real life progress, because here you had chicks who were just concerned about getting a rich man, right? They brought on everybody. There wasn't like one goal in mind usually when you saw those conversations play out. Now that doesn't mean that everybody needs to have the same goal, because everybody has different things they value. But when you bring a bunch of different people who have a bunch of different problems and have a bunch of different goals, then you are going to create an environment of confusion, because most people, like at least myself, you know, because maybe other people won't be able to admit that, I know that if I'm focused on a goal, then I have to shut off all the other things. If I'm focused on marriage, if that's my goal, then I can't date or think like or carry myself like I'm out here looking for the next chick who I'm going to sleep with. Now, was there a time when that was the goal? Yes, there was. But did I eventually decide, you know what, I don't think this is a healthy way for a man to live. And that is my belief on how I view life. And then I decided to align myself with that new belief and value so I could uphold it in real life. But you can't even get to figuring out what destroys a relationship or marriage if you don't know how to define your relationship and don't even know the things that you value in your own life. You can't even get to some of the other topics, like cheating, for example. Another topic people don't want to talk about. You need to sit down with the person who you plan to be married with. Hey, so what if infidelity happened in this marriage? Because it can. Most people just approach a relationship thinking, if we don't talk about it, it'll never happen, right? There'll never be any financial distress. How will you handle it if I lose my job and go broke? All that stuff needs to be discussed. Who's
Right.
going to wash the dishes? How many children you're going to have? The more things you can talk about before that marriage, the better. The better you understand yourself.
And that's a problem. Whether if it's work relationships, family interactions, things of that nature. A lot of people are poor communicators. Unfortunately, I myself have an issue with communicating with people. Now, am I the best at it? No. Am I the worst at it? I'm not that neither. I'm somewhere in the middle, but I hope that I can get better at it and become a better person from it. Let's get back into the material. Oh crap! Hold on. Here we go.
Things you can talk about before that marriage, the better. The better you understand
Facts.
yourself, the better you understand your partner. Are you willing to deal with a chick who doesn't know how to cook? And you might have to spend more time in the kitchen with him. Are you willing to deal with a man who says, listen, my last 2 relationships didn't work out because I cheated, and it's something that I'm working on? People don't want to be that honest. You need to be that honest. You need to know.
That's another
hey,
problem.
if
We
you're
don't
cheating,
want
if
to
you
be
step out of this
honest.
marriage, I'm out. Now you know the gravity of the situation and the consequences associated with it. Now, there are people out there who say, hey, I'm willing to work through such and such problem. Whatever it is, I'm willing to work through it. Someone's going to say, hey, if you can't cook, this is not going to work out. But you need to have the conversations. And my favorite is when people say, hey, Chisha, you know, you're over here telling men to get prenup. Did you get one? Why would I give you advice that I wouldn't take myself? Oh, I get it. You think I drink decaf. So a few responses to this guy's video here. I went on a rant there for a little bit. We have this guy who says, tell black women they are queens and they deserve anything. They will eat that shit up, ignoring the red flags of the mother effer that's pandering. Somebody else responded back and says,
Typical.
don't mind being led astray as long as it feels good. Here's another person who says, every time. Another woman who says, you're not lying. I've always felt...
Unfortunately, what Derek Jackson proved and what Ace Manafort proved is that if you look a certain way, black women love to be scammed.
There was something about Ace metaphor, but I couldn't quite identify it. Here's somebody else who says, this is so true. Another person here added, what does this have to do with tonight's podcast? And he responded, the guy who recorded this video, he says, they break it up because of Ace. So to say, but I ain't really like bro, he a pander. So, you know, I can't say whether I like somebody or not because I don't know them in real life, but definitely panderer for sure.
Yeah, he is a panderer.
I don't think that's a secret
Easily.
in itself. Here's another take on the current situation.
So that tonight's conversation podcast is basically imploding, like all of this shit always does. And I find it funny because I've watched the lives with Kidda and that other chick. They said the kitty girl ain't really said much. People still kind of waiting for that Trip dude to talk about it. They said there was some NDAs involved or something.
Me personally, I don't believe Trip gonna say anything. Soon, when Trip said that he was leaving, there was basically Trip saying that he was 100% done. But if you go back to what Sister Goddess posted and the interaction between herself, Randy Rosario, and with Kidda Rose, you can see Trip spy language was basically him being done with the whole podcast then during that whole Sister Goddess mess when she was on there. Trip, by his spy language, was just over it. Let's get back into this. Come on, phone.
said there was some NDAs involved or something. But the killer chick was on live, like, saying stuff or whatever. And I just kind of felt from the jump, and just kind of like what I've concluded is Ace been tricking with the money.
Yeah.
Kitty, it been perpetrated. And Ace been people. And that's usually how this goes. And it's funny because it's like women don't learn from shit. And because I've made countless videos about that Ace dude, right? And his pandering and like him doing and saying the things and that he does towards women. And it's like those dudes, whether it's Derek Jackson, whether it's him, that are just or what's his name, the Yada Awakening dude. Like anytime there's a dude who's just super pandering to women, as a woman, you have to question that. Like, why is he always telling me what I want to hear?
Right.
You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that goes for anybody, but for this specific situation, if that man is always that you're getting information from for life and relationships, is always telling you what you want to hear, is always on your side, is never criticizing you with healthy criticism,
Facts.
Holding the mirror up to you, you should question that. You should.
You should.
If you have,
But they won't.
And that, I think, equal to the confusion. Let me know what you guys think of the points I've made so far.
She's just always yelling to the point where I don't really care to even know what she got going on. She's always yelling, and she loud, and she just be saying shit and just be angry all the time. That's probably why that man.
Yep, fact.
I think she was married. So I
Was she?
And for just a generation, a demographic of people who are always hollering, they don't want relationships, and they can't. They gotta be out there. They don't trust nobody. The rise of those type of podcasts show you that people want relationships. Women want relationships. Men want relationships. Pure point blank. Y'all just suck it. Happy. And then you'll flock to podcasts and people.
Yep, they will.
The opposite of what they speak in. And then y'all wonder why y'all still don't have the success in the relationship. Because they're telling y'all shit y'all already know. They're telling
Exactly.
y'all shit y'all already know, and it's common sense. And at that point, y'all go to these people and these platforms for entertainment. And it's just, I don't know. And I feel like these situations always implode because these people don't really live the authentic lives that they talk about. And so when you put all that energy, all that fake energy together, and it's a form of entertainment instead of real genuineness, it always implodes.
Yeah, that's another good point, man. I do believe that most women, and I do mean most women, I mean modern women and also women who embrace more traditional values, that they all want marriage. They all want marriage. Don't get it twisted. This is why you always see the adult film star will come out of the adult industry crying with tears and then will get married. We know it doesn't last long, but they all want marriage in the end. They all want a family. They all want kids. The biological urge to have that family eventually starts to kick in. Now, the loud ones, be like, not me. I'm not. Shut up. We're not talking about you. We're talking about the majority of women out here. And that
Exactly.
and so you might be wondering, well, if that's the case, then why are they not getting it? I think because it's a lot like everything else that most people want. Most people want to be wealthy, right? Most people want to invest. Most people want to have nice things, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into investing. There's a lot of discipline that goes into being a consistent investor. The truth is, when you invest into something like, let's say, the stock market, most people are emotionally driven. So when they lose 10% of their portfolio, this is most people in general who invest into the market.
Yeah.
They take their money out. And so most people can't stick to the things that they say they want. We know that most people who want to lose weight struggle with the discipline to hit the gym and to stay consistent on that diet. Why? Because it's painful. It's painful.
It's great setting up and prepping the food, and we've all been there. I've been there. I've lost 60 pounds. Like it's hell to go through that experience.
Okay.